Zeus committed the perfect crime. He became another man to sleep with his wife. For one night, the king of gods stole a mortal's identity so completely that even the victim's own wife couldn't tell the difference. But when she gave birth 9 months later, one baby strangled deadly serpents with his bare hands. While laughing like it was a game, that child would become so powerful that the Queen of Heaven herself would spend decades trying to murder him, only to accidentally forge the most legendary hero who ever lived. This is how divine betrayal, jealous rage, and attempted infanticide created Heracles, and why his origin story is darker than any modern superhero will ever be. The king of gods has betrayed his wife countless times, but his next affair will produce something unprecedented. A mortal son with divine strength who will become legend itself. Today, you'll witness the birth of Heracles. Discover how Hera's murderous rage shaped the ultimate hero, and learn why this child's very existence would redefine what it means to be heroic. In the city of Thebes lived Alcmene, wife of Amphitryon, a noble warrior fighting distant wars. She was renowned for her beauty, intelligence, and most importantly, her absolute fidelity to her husband. In an age when gods regularly seduced mortal women, Alcmene had never shown interest in anyone but Amphitryon. This virtue made her the perfect challenge for Zeus. The king of gods had grown bored with easy conquests. Nymphs threw themselves at his feet. Princesses begged for divine attention. But Alcmene represented something rare, a woman whose honor couldn't be bought or swayed. Zeus watched her for months, studying her habits, her thoughts, her dreams. He learned that she wrote letters to her husband daily, that she counted the days until his return, that she would rather die than betray their marriage vows. This wasn't just lust. It was divine obsession. Zeus had to have the one woman who didn't want him. Zeus's plan was his most elaborate deception yet. Rather than appearing as himself or taking animal form, he would become Amphitryon himself. Not just in appearance, but perfectly. Voice, mannerisms, memories, even intimate knowledge only a husband would possess. On the night Amphitryon was due to return from war, Zeus struck first. Taking his exact form, the god appeared at Alcmene's door, travel-stained and weary, carrying gifts from distant lands. Alcmene's joy was heartbreaking to witness. She threw herself into her husband's arms, tears streaming down her face as she welcomed him home. Every kiss, every word of love was meant for another man. Zeus had prepared for this moment. He spoke of battles only Amphitryon had fought, recalled private conversations only a husband would remember, showed wounds that matched letters Alcmene had received. The deception was perfect, too perfect. That single night, Zeus made last 3 times longer than natural, stopping the sun in the sky to extend his time with Alcmene. She never suspected that the passionate lover in her arms was the king of gods himself. The next morning brought devastating truth. The real Amphitryon arrived home, expecting the same joyous welcome his divine impostor had received. Instead, he found a confused wife who insisted he had already returned the night before. The argument that followed was painful beyond words. Amphitryon accused Alcmene of adultery. She swore by all the gods that she had been with him alone. Neither understood the truth, but both felt betrayed. The blind prophet Tiresias finally revealed the divine deception. "A god has been here," he announced. "The woman is innocent, but she carries divine seed." Amphitryon's rage turned to fear. He had married a woman chosen by Zeus himself. Their marriage bed had been defiled by the king of gods. But more terrifying, Alcmene was pregnant with a divine child whose very existence would draw divine attention to their household. 9 months later, Alcmene gave birth to twins, an impossibility that revealed the supernatural nature of her pregnancy. One child was clearly mortal, born with normal human features and strength. This was Iphicles, son of Amphitryon. The other child was something unprecedented, born with muscles that rippled with divine power, eyes that blazed with inner fire, and hands that could crush stone. This was Heracles, son of Zeus, the strongest being ever born to mortal woman. But Hera had been watching. The queen of gods had endured her husband's affairs with nymphs and princesses, but this was different. Zeus hadn't just seduced another woman. He had created a child who could become his heir, a divine son born from mortal flesh. The threat was unacceptable. When Heracles was only 8 months old, Hera sent her divine assassins, 2 enormous serpents with poison that could kill gods themselves. The creatures slithered into the nursery where the twins slept, their scales gleaming with venomous slime. Iphicles, the mortal child, screamed in terror as the serpents approached. But Heracles, still a baby, reached out with chubby hands and grabbed both serpents by the throat. What happened next became legend. The infant, who should have been helpless, strangled both divine serpents with his bare hands, laughing with delight as their struggles grew weaker. When Alcmene and Amphitryon rushed to the nursery, they found Heracles playing with the dead snakes like toys. That night, everyone understood what had been born in their household. This wasn't just Zeus's son. This was a force of nature in human form. Desperate to understand their child's destiny, Alcmene consulted the Oracle of Delphi. The Pythias prophecy was both magnificent and terrifying. The child will become the greatest hero who ever lived. He will perform labors that make legends. He will kill monsters, save cities, and earn a place among the gods themselves. But the path to glory runs through suffering beyond mortal endurance. The Queen of Heaven's hatred will forge him into steel. The prophecy revealed Hera's role in Heracles' destiny. Her attempts to destroy him would actually create the very hero he was meant to become. Every challenge she sent would make him stronger. Every monster she unleashed would add to his legend. But the cost would be terrible. As Heracles grew, his strength became legendary. By age 12, he could lift boulders, bend iron bars, and wrestle wild animals. But with power came Hera's escalating hatred. The Queen of Gods tried everything. She sent wild beasts to attack him. Heracles strangled them. She caused accidents. He emerged unharmed. She cursed his food. Divine strength made him immune to poison. Finally, Hera chose the cruelest weapon of all, madness. Heracles had married Megara, princess of Thebes, and fathered 3 beautiful children. For a brief time, he seemed to have found happiness, despite divine persecution. He was a loving husband, devoted father, and protector of his city. Then Hera struck at his mind. Divine madness is not human insanity. It's the complete replacement of rational thought with supernatural rage. Hera filled Heracles' mind with visions of enemies, where he saw loved ones, monsters, where he saw family. In his madness, Heracles killed his wife and children with his own hands, believing he was fighting deadly enemies. When the divine madness lifted, he found himself standing over their bodies, covered in their blood, remembering every horrible detail. The guilt nearly destroyed Heracles. The strongest man alive couldn't lift the weight of what he had done. He wandered Greece as a beggar, convinced he deserved nothing but death and suffering. But the Oracle of Delphi offered hope through service. Serve King Eurystheus of Tiryns for 12 years. Perform whatever labors he sets you. Only through service to others can you atone for innocent blood. This created the most famous hero's journey in mythology. Eurystheus, a weak king jealous of Heracles' strength, would set impossible tasks designed to kill the hero. But each labor would become a victory that added to Heracles' legend. Hera's hatred had backfired perfectly. By trying to destroy Heracles, she had created the conditions that would make him immortal. King Eurystheus' first task seemed simple: kill the Nemean lion, a beast whose hide cannot be pierced by mortal weapons. This lion was one of Hera's monsters, a creature born from divine malice, with golden fur harder than bronze armor. Its claws could cut through shields. Its roar could paralyze grown warriors. And its bite was poisonous to gods and mortals alike. For 30 days, Heracles tracked the beast through hills around Nemea. When he finally cornered it in a cave, the real battle began. Arrows bounced off the lion's hide like twigs. Swords shattered against its golden fur. But Heracles had learned to use his divine strength strategically. He wrestled the lion barehanded, using its own claws to cut through the impenetrable hide. When he returned to Eurystheus wearing the lion's skin as a cloak, the terrified king hid in a bronze jar. From that day forward, Eurystheus would only communicate with Heracles through messengers, too frightened to face the hero directly. But this was only the beginning. 11 more labors awaited, each one designed to be impossible, each one destined to become legend. The birth of Heracles proved that the greatest heroes aren't born from privilege, but forged by adversity. Zeus's deception created divine strength, but Hera's hatred created heroic character. Every attempt to destroy Heracles made him stronger. Every monster sent against him became another victory. Every impossible task became another legend. Hera thought she was punishing her husband's infidelity, but she was actually crafting the greatest hero in human history. Her divine jealousy became the crucible that transformed raw strength into legendary heroism. The 12 labors were about to begin, and each one would add another chapter to the greatest hero's story ever told. What's the most shocking part of Heracles' origin story? Zeus's perfect identity theft, a baby strangling divine assassins, or Hera accidentally creating her own worst enemy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you're blown away by how dark Greek mythology really gets compared to Disney versions, smash that like button and subscribe for more legendary stories that Hollywood could never tell. Share this with anyone who thinks they know the real story of Hercules. Trust me, they don't. Which of the 12 labors should we cover first? Let me know what monster you want to see Heracles fight next.